I haven't done one of these for a little while, and we are under 12 hours away from the second blood moon this year, a total lunar eclipse in the middle degrees of Pisces. And I came on here to actually create a light song. And in the preparation for that, I discovered a pattern in the star map for the lunar eclipse that really took my breath away. So I'm going to share my findings, and I will do a light song later. So this picture is of the last blood moon we had in March. It's a bit blurry, but you can really clearly see the blood colour of the moon. This was taken in early evening, so just as the sun was going down. And I watched as the blood moon became visible in the sky as the sun's light disappeared. So this blood moon will be in local time very early in the morning, and I'm going to do my best to get out there to see the second blood moon for the year. And looking at the pattern, the effects of a lunar eclipse last for about 6 months. The effects of a solar eclipse last for about a year. So even though this is coming out just as we're about to have the eclipse or just after, the effects of what I'm sharing here will play out over the next 6 months. Here is the chart that I have taken from astroseek.com, and it's just to show the chart as it is and the pattern that jumped out at me. What I do is when I first look at a chart, I look at the primary motivators for the pattern, which in this case is the sun and the moon at 15 degrees and 22 minutes. Pisces is the moon, and Virgo, the sun. And because when I'm doing a light song, I want to capture the flowing, beneficial energies. So there's a natural opposition here because that's what makes the full moon, or in this case, because it is near the lunar nodes, where you can see here the south node here and the north node here. The north node is with the moon. There's a natural opposition happening between the sun and the moon and the nodal axis itself that's very close. So I wanted to look at, okay, let's see, I immediately noticed that Jupiter is forming this beautiful trine with the moon. So a 120-degree relationship, angle, connection with the moon. So I thought, let me go and see what's at 15 degrees in Scorpio, in the other water sign. And this effectively makes a grand water trine here, the blue triangle in the middle. And so that's what led to these asteroids here being included at the bottom. So Hecate and Almathea, both in Scorpio. And the reason I've got two of them is because Hecate is in the 15-degree zone, and Almathea is within the 18 degrees, because the nodal axis is at 18 degrees 16 minutes. So 17 degrees and 33 minutes, Almathea is tightly conjunct, in tight relationship, because she's not conjunct, but in tight relationship with the nodal axis. So that was my reason for including them. And then it wasn't just the grand water trine, which is what I was expecting, that jumped out at me. What jumped out at me is this. So when I looked at all of these relationships, I could see like a spaceship, a space probe, satellite. That's what it looked like to me, almost like with a radar or a disc on it, being this ongoing minor trine that we've got between the outer planets and Saturn. So I'm going to build the picture of this space capsule, as I'm now calling it, a space capsule. So the first 3 points is, or I guess you could say 4 points really, is the nodal axis and the opposition between the sun and moon, which I just spoke about. And I've put a dragon here because the nodal axis, the north node, is known as the dragon's head. Rahu is the name given for the north node, and Ketu is the name given for the south node, which is the dragon's tail. So the nodal axis is a dragon, and this represents really the curvature of the dragon, really mirrors the movement of the moon around the earth, which, yes, there's around the ecliptic. It weaves in and out and up and down like a dragon, like a serpent. And then here we have this trine that I spoke of from Jupiter to the moon, and even more tightly to the north node. And with Jupiter is Mikal, the asteroid Mikal. With the north node and the moon is the asteroid Agal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then Orcus is with the sun. And I've written in here their indicators or their influence. And I always find that the asteroids are a very precise flavour to the planet that they're with. So Orcus with the sun, it's a very powerful combination there, and it's pretty close. Like, I only include asteroids if they're less than 2 degrees of influence away. So Orcus is there at 16 degrees 47, and between the node and the sun. Power, control and transformation. Then we've got Mikal at 20 degrees 14, very close to Jupiter. Discipline, focus and precision. And Jupiter expands what it touches. So that's even expanding discipline, focus and precision. And then we have radiance, light, wisdom with the dragon's head, the north node, and the moon, which is known as the sustainer. Okay, so that's the first part. Opposition, a flowing trine, and a flowing sextile. And as I said, this is that grand trine that I was looking for, and which is why I included Hecate and Almathea. And I've got their indicators here too: magic, intuition, and the shadow self, nurturing, nourishment, and abundance. Then moving on, I joined this up with the other sextile that goes back to the sun. And this pattern is known as a kite. But I didn't stop there, because I then saw that Venus and Mars are actually in pretty tight relationship too. When you look at Mars, the warrior, he's only, he's well within 2 degrees in square to Jupiter. So when you have flowing aspects, the blue aspects, you always need the red dynamic energy of a square or an opposition to give impetus to the blue energy. If the blue energy is there on its own, it can be a bit, what's the word? It's inactive. It can lay dormant. So you need the actual red dynamic energy to give it a bit of a kickstart. So we've got Mars with a Terra in a square relationship with Jupiter and Michael. And then we have Venus and Ganymede in a square relationship with Hecate and Alethea. So this to me just kind of, it looked like a spring, because this is dynamic tension. It's almost like, it's acting like a spring, like a springboard, I guess you could say. And then the other blue aspects here complete the bottom of this with these semi-sextiles. And then we also have the 150-degree relationship, the quincunx. So the quincunx is a questioning energy, like a line of curiosity, is like how I like to think about it. Sometimes it's referred to as an irritant. However, because I have a inbuilt quincunx between my sun and my moon, I've done a lot of investigation into the quincunx energy, and I find it most helpful to think about it as a line of inquiry or a line of curiosity. So we've got a quincunx from Venus to the moon, and then we've got a quincunx from Mars to the North Node. Now, of course, they also have a quincunx to both, but the strongest quincunxes are between Mars and the North Node and Venus and the Moon. So this is like very, very interesting picture that this is painting. So we have like a springboard. So for me, this is like, this is really feeling like a spaceship to me, like a rocket that's going to take off. Because when you look at the elements, so the North Node is in Pisces, water. The South Node and the Sun are in Earth, Virgo, Earth. We have Jupiter in water and Hecate and Alethea in water as well. Venus is in the fire sign of Leo, and Mars is in the air sign of Libra. So it's like they're giving the fire, power, and wind to this rocket or spaceship or space capsule. And it's left Earth, and yet it's going to water. So I'm thinking, oh, that's quite odd. So is this not a spaceship? Is it actually a deep ocean exploration vehicle? So then I went on to add the minor trine between the outer planets and Saturn, because Saturn's there with Neptune. And what I found interesting is we have Uranus, Neptune, Saturn are all in retrograde. It's going this way. And Pluto is still currently moving direct. He will be going retrograde soon, but at the moment he's direct. He's moving forward. And you'll see that Agil is also retrograde. So it's like the motion of the radar, what I'm thinking of as the radar part, is going in anti-clockwise, or sorry, clockwise direction, as is the point of the, what I'm going to call space capsule. So I found this very intriguing. And then I thought, okay, well, let me go and have a look. Does this look more like a space probe or a deep sea exploratory vessel? And blow me down. When I went looking, would you believe I didn't know this, but SpaceX, their capsule is called a Dragon. And the Dragon is a central feature to an eclipse. If the moon and the sun are not near the nodes, the actual dragon head and tail, you don't have an eclipse. So this is very central. And then I see that the fact that it's pointing to Pisces, which is deep water, so you have Cancer is usually connected with rivers, Scorpio is connected with lakes, the deep lakes, and Pisces is connected with the ocean. So the Dragon space capsule, it's intended that they will land in the ocean. That's just wild, isn't it? And then even more wild is this week just gone, this was announced that they've just completed their initial burn to test the spacecraft's capability. And then when you look at the photo, this little like bit that's popped open, it's like the bit that's open on the pattern, the outer planets forming this little triangle. Oh, this is just, it just blew my mind. So, what's the message in the pattern? I don't know. You may want to go back and have a look at the influences that I've added from the different asteroids. What I do know is that the next 6 months, because that's when the effects of a eclipse unfold, the next 6 months are going to be worth watching what happens with the space capsule Dragon. Thanks for watching, and please share your thoughts and comments. I am really keen to hear what you think and what you may have picked up from this that I've missed. I've literally just put this together and wanted to get it out before the eclipse turns up. So happy moon watching if you're going to go out there and see the blood moon, and I'm hoping to catch her very early in the morning here. But for now, bye for now, and I will post the actual light song of the space capsule in the next day or two, because those energies I feel are still very beneficial, and is a good talisman to be tuning into and attuning to for the next 6 months. Okay, bye for now from my heart's light to yours.